Is it too early for Martin Necas and Hart talks? Short answer, no. Is it possible that Martin Necas might win the Hart Trophy this year? Short answer, yes. Now, if you want the long answer to those questions, well, I guess you got to listen to the rest of this episode and why I think Martin Necas has a legitimate shot to win the Hart Trophy this year for your Carolina Hurricanes.
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you to the Everydayer for making this your first listen of the day. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, talking everything about your Carolina Hurricanes and most importantly, Martin Necas. I'm your host, Zach Martin. I'm the credentialed Carolina Hurricanes beat writer over at the Hockey Writers. I also do a column on the Chicago Wolves called Wolves Weekly, co-host of the Search Cast, is a weekly Carolina Hurricanes podcast, along with all of my duties here at Locked On Hurricanes. Got a very exclusive, all but nothing. It's basically everything about Martin Necas on a Tuesday episode of the podcast. Talk about why I think he deserves to be in the conversation and have his legitimate shot to win the Hart Trophy. We also get to talk about his 13-point game streak that he is on right now, and also looking at the season so far for one of the hottest players in the NHL as of right now. But before we jump into everything that is going to be a Locked On Martin Necas episode, today's episode is brought to you by Indeed. Still searching for a great candidate for your company? Don't search, just match with Indeed. Now, I know a lot of people are going to probably just take, this whole opening part of the show or even the cold open as, wait a minute, it's still 17 games into the season. Is it really legitimately early to talk about Martin Necas for the Hart? Honestly, no, it's not too early because the way he's been playing right now, I think that the conversation should have already been started with the multiple point games he's already had this season, and for the fact that he's on a 13-game point streak, which already is, best for a Czech player in over 12 years. And that's, actually not even 12 years, like 22 years, because the last time the Czech was like 2002 was a guy from the Capitals, and this was pre-Ovi. So, yeah, I think right now this is a legitimate shot and a legitimate chance of, a good time as ever to talk about why Martin Necas should be going for the Hart and be in the conversations at least. And I think he should be someone that should be highly considered for the Hart Trophy, regardless if it's 17 games into the season, because the Hart Trophy is basically being the MVP of your team. And when you look at how Martin Necas is with how the Hurricanes are playing, coming into the season, no one thought Carolina was going to be, having a legitimate shot for the division title. A lot of people thought they took a step back. I thought they took a slight step back, but I'm not like you see some of the national guys were like, oh, they're going to make a wild card, or they're going to miss the playoffs, or the offense isn't going to score goals. They're going to struggle scoring goals. How's their goaltending going to be and stuff like that? Last time I checked, the Carolina Hurricanes are scoring over 4 goals a game. And I mean, for the fact that they're just absolutely shooting at will. Oh, and they're 13-4-0 in the first 17 games. So, yeah, I would consider to say that the Hurricanes are playing some really good hockey right now, and they're scoring a lot of goals. They're also giving up, less than 2.7 goals per game, which is top 10 in the league. Power plays, top 10. Penalty kills, top 10. So, I mean, if you want to look at the Carolina Hurricanes as of right now, yeah, they're playing great hockey. And one of the guys that's leading the way is Martin Necas, where we'll go over his whole overall season stats. But for this part of the segment, why I think why he should be in the conversation and why he's a legitimate shot to do it is because you look at a guy who's leading a team right now where Sebastian Aho is close to a point per game. Andrei Svechnikov is also close to a point per game. Seth Jarvis is currently hurt right now. Frederick Anderson could be out for who knows how long. You're still getting some depth scoring around guys like Eric Robinson and Jack Roslovic and stuff like that. But if you're talking about a guy like Martin Necas, who is almost dang near to a 2 points per game player, he's got 30 points in 17 games. That is the fastest ever Hurricane to hit 30 points in a season. Eric Stahl did that in 2005, 2006 when he did it in 18 games. Martin Necas did it already in 17 games. And this is a guy who is currently on pace right now for 145 points. His best ever is 71 2 seasons ago for the 22-23 season. And then last year, he had a drop off to 53 points. And he's already up to 30, 17 games in. He's already 23 points shy of tying last year's total. And he did that in 77 games last season. And he's already up to 30 and 17. He could be basically at 53 by the end of December. He could be close to almost 60 by the end of December going into 2025. And as of recording, there's games going on tonight, so all the stats that we're going to talk about later on the show might change. But as of right now, 30 points as of November 18th. I would not be shocked if he's close to 60 or surpasses 60 by January 1st of 2025. That's how good of a run he's on right now. Will he sustain it? Who really knows? But right now, I don't know any other player that's as hot as Martin Necas. And the Hart Trophy is about a guy who's the MVP for his team. Yeah, you can talk about, Nathan McKinnon, Kirill Kaprizov, stuff like that, Jack Eichel, Sam Reinhart. Okay, well, Sam Reinhart's on a really good, for Panther team. Nikita Kucherov is Nikita Kucherov on Tampa. Jack Eichel's on Vegas Golden Knights. Kaprizov's playing really well for the Minnesota Wild, who are actually doing pretty good this year. And of course, Nathan McKinnon. It's Nathan McKinnon on the Avalanche. It's we're not really shocked by some of these guys that are getting named because they're always household names that keep getting mentioned. But if you're talking about a guy who's an MVP player for his team right now, Martin Necas is the definition of a Hart Trophy guy. On a team where a lot of people say there's no superstars, there's no game changers, other than maybe the Sebastian Aho, Seth Jarvis had a breakout year last year. Martin Necas 2 seasons ago had a breakout season. But this is right now probably the hottest start for a Carolina Hurricane as I've ever seen. And that's, being a fan since day one when the team, relocated from Hartford. And the stats even show it. He's already passed Eric Stahl for the most points to get 30 points in a certain number of games. And he did it one game before him. And that's the same year that Eric Stahl and the Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup. There's a chance that Martin Necas could hit 100 points this year. The last guy at 100 points, Eric Stahl. And guess what happened? Oh, that's right. The Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup. So Martin, like I said, I don't know if this pace is going to maintain the 145. I'm not sure if that's going to be possible. But if he's able to hit 100 points this year, the Stars are going to line pretty dang good to what happened the last time the Hurricanes had a 100-point guy. And like I said, and that's where no one had a lot of expectations for the Hurricanes. That season when they won the Cup, everyone expected them to finish dead last in the Southeast, dead last in the Eastern Conference, dead last in the NHL. This season, not as egregious, but you're still talking wild card, maybe missing the playoffs entirely, taking an entire step back to where this team is going to struggle. Right now, they're not struggling, and right now, Martin Necas is not even close to struggling. This guy has been supernova times a billion hot. Like, I don't know what's even hotter than supernova hot. That's just how good Martin Necas is right now. And why I think that he is more legitimately should be in the Hart conversation already, if not 2 days ago when he was already on this massive streak that he's been on. And he should be in that conversation now. And do I think he has a legitimate shot to doing it? Yes. Because if you look at what the definition of the Hart Trophy is, he is the MVP player for his team. Well, guess what? He's the MVP player for his team right now because he is the best Carolina Hurricane on a career year start. And we're 17 games into the season. So, yes, I do think he is legitimately that guy to do that. And why I think more so? Well, we can just talk about his 13-game point streak and look at the season overall. So, you know what? We're going to talk about that 13-game point streak. So, stick around. As I'll talk about that here in a second segment on a Tuesday Locked On Martin Necas edition of Locked On Hurricanes. We're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with the candidates faster. One good thing I like about Indeed for the fact that I can upload my resume, put in my preferences of what kind of job I'm looking for, certain type of money, locations, and stuff like that, and you're able to put that on there. And if you're an employer, well, you can curate to what your job is looking for in terms of what experience you're looking for, what type of job does it entail, what are the details of the job. And by doing that with Indeed, that makes it even easier for you to find those quality candidates, because with Indeed, they are leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day. And with Indeed's matching engine, it's constantly learning. And when it's learning from is you and your preferences, the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now to support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Once again, that is Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? Well, you need Indeed. Welcome back to segment 2 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. As like I said at the end of segment 1, let's talk about Martin Necas' 13-game point streak. And oh my absolute goodness, when you look at this, it makes sense to why this guy should be in some conversations for the Hart Trophy. How about this? In 13 games, and still going for Martin Necas, 10 goals, 17 assists. Yes, that's 27 points in 13 games. He's got 30 and 17. How about 27 in the last 13? Yeah. A good 95% of his points, or even 98 or 99%. I am not doing that math. But yeah, it's pretty evident for the fact of just this current run he's on right now, 13 games. Yeah, it shows where he's at right now. How about a plus 11? Yeah, plus 11. That tells you how much time this guy's on the ice to where he's always a positive player. Multi-point game almost every single night, it seems like. It's just, even if it's just 1 point, heck, they'll ask how many, and it's still, if it's staying current, how's it doing it? Well, it's putting up the points. How about power play points? This man is absolutely feasting on the man advantage. How about 10 power play points out of those 27? Out of 27 points in this 13-game point streak, 10 of them are on the power play. Goals and assists. That is absolutely bonkers stuff for the fact that he's doing this on 5-on-5 and on the special teams. And the special teams are usually 1 for 3, 1 for 4 on some nights. On the other night, they were 2 for 5. But the fact that he's got 10 of his 27 points are on the power play is phenomenal, to say the least. And how about 2 game-winning goals? I mean, come on, it's Martin Necas. I mean, it's not surprising because it's just how good he is. And just to prove how insane he's playing right now, he got to 27 points by getting 4 against the St. Louis Blues. 2 goals, 2 assists in the 4-1 win against those guys, against the Blues. He was part of every single Hurricanes goal on Sunday against the St. Louis Blues. 2 goals, 4 assists in the 4-1 win. He went from 23 to 27 points in this stretch alone on Sunday. He went from 26 overall to 30. He passed Eric Stahl not by, he got maybe a point or 2. No, 4 points. That's how good of a game he had, that he did it in a way that's like, I'm not just going to like, here's some secondary assists. Maybe you might have 1 primary. No, he had a second. Yes, he did have a secondary assist. Also got a primary. Oh, yeah, and scored 2 goals in the process. Yeah, he did it in a way where it's like, oh my goodness, Martin Necas is here. The way he's been playing is phenomenal. The way he's been playing this year, it's like, you know, he had to have a conversation with Rod Burnmore in the offseason, because with all the contract stuff that was going on. He wanted more opportunities. He wanted to showcase what he can do. And Rod's like, you have to show me. You have to earn it. And obviously, it's working right now because it seems like that Rod is letting Martin Necas kind of showcase his skills with the offensive like transitions into the zone, especially on the power play, where he's crashing the blue line. He's using his speed to an advantage to catch these teams off guard. And that's something that Martin Necas has even said, even on Sunday afternoon, that he's been practicing his entire life is those zone entries on the power play because of his speed, because he's probably one of the fastest guys. He's probably easily top 10 fastest guy in the NHL right now. And I think the fact that Rod is kind of letting the reins off a little bit, letting up off the slack of, okay, I still want you to play my style of what this system is, but I will give you the reins in the opportunity to showcase more of your skill. And I think that's what you're seeing with Martin Necas right now, because of the fact that he has, like I said, on the hottest of hots of starts you've ever seen from a Carolina Hurricane. And I know Hurricanes fans are listening to this. You know, guys like how good Jeff Skinner was when he was in his heyday, as a rookie. Something about 53 with, Jackson Blake, but that's a whole different conversation for another day. Eric Stahl, how good he was, right out the rip. 100 points in 100 points in the Stanley Cup season. Where he's at now, where he's going to get his number retired. You've seen what Rod Brennanmore's done. Ron Francis. You have all these guys that have come into the system. Tomo Rutu at one point. What Tara Viden's done for the longevity of what he's been here in Carolina. It's one thing of like, all these guys have come through the door, done their thing, made their impacts, but just the way of how Martin Necas has found a way to work within the system that Rod wants, where it's like, I want you to play a 200-foot, two-way game, structured defense that leads into offense, leads into transitions, leads into speed. And that's what's helped with Jack Roslovic to fit in well, Eric Robinson to fit in well, because those guys got speed too. And this system of going from the defense to offense and transitions with guys like, Shane Gostisbehere's got speed. Jalen Chatfield's got speed. You are seeing a lot of guys finding a way to make their offense work while also playing some stellar structured defense. You can see it in Seth Jarvis too. And for the fact that you're seeing it in Martin Necas now, because last year his defense was okay, wasn't stellar, it wasn't like it was eye-popping. It was like, okay, he has some defense that's there, but you kind of wish you saw more out of him. This season, his defense is leaps and bounds better than it was last year. He is not afraid to go into some board battles. He's not afraid to put the body where he needs to. He's finding ways to keep plays going. He's not doing spin around passes and dropping the puck back to no one. He's keeping the puck on his stick. And I've talked about it all the time. This guy can stick handle a London phone booth with someone in there making a phone call. That's just how good he is. The way he can just stick handle it at his will is absolutely insane. And for the fact that he's played so well and that his transition game's gotten better, he's not turning over the pucks up a lot. He's using his speed to the advantage to circle around the entire offensive zone to find his teammates, to be able to hold the puck on longer. He's doing all the right things that we wanted him to do last year, and he's incorporating that. And I think with how his skill set is and what Rod wants his system to be, and the fact that it seems like they're kind of working together now, like it's like you always can tell that they were trying to line themselves up, like a little like, if you ever go look at a manual clock, or like how the cogs kind of just like they form together really well in like the little spokes that kind of just line up easily. I think we're finally seeing the cogs in that watch, in that machine of Rod Brennanmore's system with Martin Necas' skill set. I think they're finally they're lining up and locking into place and just grooving so well that you're seeing a guy like Martin Necas, who, like I said, 2 seasons ago led the team in points with 71, career highs and everything. This season right now, he's already putting himself into the top 5 on every stat category around the league. Around the league, he's doing that. I don't remember the last time we saw a Hurricane up near that far in a lot of these categories. And for the fact that on the team, he leads the team in every offensive category. Every single one. 17 games into the season. That's just how great he is. So, like I said, that's just the season that Martin Necas is having right now. And I think, like I said, that the cogs of what Rod's system is and what Martin Necas' skill set is, it has finally lined up, and it's finally, you always look for that piece to unlock something, to open another door or open up another thing, to find something better. I think we found that something better, and that's Martin Necas right now, 17 games into the 24-25 season. And speaking of that season, well, we're going to talk more about it. Where is he at right now in terms of the team-wise and even league-wide of where Martin Necas is at right now for this season? So you know what, guys? Stick around for segment 3 as we'll go over the season so far of Martin Necas and where he stands on the Hurricanes and around the National Hockey League as a whole. So we'll do that here in a second on a Tuesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long with PrizePicks. PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money as quick as 15 minutes. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Do you think Connor McDavid might get more than half a goal next week? Or do you think Austin Matthews might have more than 2.5 shots in the next game? Well, you can cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this hockey season when you and your crew run your game on PrizePicks. Now, for me, am I going into the Carolina Hurricanes game where I think Martin Necas might have more than 1.5 points? Or do I think that Pierre Kachekov might have 23.5 saves, more or less? Well, you can do that with PrizePicks. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Once again, download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Where you can do that? Well, you can do that at PrizePicks, where you can run your game. Welcome back to segment 3 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. So like I said, at the end of segment 2, we're going to talk about the season so far for Martin Necas as we're 17 games into the 24-25 season. As of right now, when we get to the national league-wide stats, games are going on. They haven't really been updated yet, so just bear with me when you do hear this on Tuesday or whenever you do listen to this, hopefully on Tuesday before the next show. So these stats might change a little bit, but as of right now, this is what we're looking at. At least for the Hurricanes, they're off until Wednesday, so team-wise, nothing's changed. And league-wide might change. Martin Necas currently leads the team right now in 11 goals. He's 2 ahead of Jack Roslovic, who's second. Jordan Martinook, who's in third with 6, along with Andrei Svechnikov. Assist-wise, Martin Necas, 19, with Aho at 11, Andrei Svechnikov at 10, and then Gostisbehere and Kotkaniemi tied with 9 each. Points-wise, Martin Necas at 30, Andrei Svechnikov at 16, with Aho at 15, Gostisbehere at 13, and then Eric Robinson at 12. Now, looking at the league-wide points and all of that, actually, we're going to save points for last. Goals, Sam Reinhart, Leon Draisaitl, and Alexander Ovechkin all are tied for first with 13, but Martin Necas is tied for 8th with Kaprizov and Nikita Kucherov with 11. So he's only 2 goals back of Reinhart, Draisaitl, and Ovechkin. That's saying something, too, in the fact that you have Caulfield and Mikko Rantanen and William Nylander all at 12. Assist-wise, Martin Necas is tied for 5th with 19 assists with Kel McCarr. That's ahead of like Mitch Marner, Jesper Bratt, Anze Kopitar. But they're not that far behind Nathan McKinnon now. McKinnon does have 26, but still relatively good distance, not that far behind. Eichel's at 23, Kaprizov's at 20, and Dylan Strom's at 21. Now, yes, goals-wise, he's tied for 8th. Assists-wise, yes, he's tied for 5th. Points-wise, 3rd. He is sitting 3rd in the NHL right now in points. That's ahead of Panarin, Rantanen, and Makar, ahead of Dylan Strome, Kucherov, Reinhart, and Eichel. He is sole 3rd right now. He's only 1 point behind Kirill Kaprizov of the Minnesota Wild at 31. And he's only 3 points behind Nathan McKinnon of the Colorado Avalanche. So as of right now, Martin Necas is within 3 points of the NHL lead. Of the NHL lead right now. That's how great of a season he's having. That sometimes you don't even see a Carolina Hurricane probably within the top 10 of points. He, as of right now, is there at third by himself. Tied for 8th in goals, tied for 5th in assists, but 3rd in points. Like I said, can he maintain it? I don't know. I hope he does. If not, hey, you'll still take 100 points out of this guy because you don't really see a lot of 100-point guys for the Hurricanes. So if he at least hits 100, hey, that's fantastic. You love to see it. Obviously, a career that's obviously a career best for him. Like I said, his best is 71. If you're talking an extra 29 points to get to 100 at least, fine, fantastic. I love to see it. I'll take that. I'll take 100 point season out of, Martin Necas. Do I think he has a shot to go for the all-time for the points lead this year? I think he does. As if he's playing right now in the last 13 games on this point streak says it by itself. Yeah, I think he can because he's sustained it long enough to have 27 points in 13 games. I don't know what guy can have a hot start like this and then completely just drop off. I mean, it's the NHL. I think it's possible, but right now, I don't see it. I hope it doesn't happen. But hey, I'll gladly take 100 points. Right now, he's on pace for 145, which would have won last year because the last year was like 127 or almost 130. But 145, yeah, that easily leads the league in points this year. Could he do it? I don't know. Be great if he did. I don't think it was touching that record for the Carolina Hurricanes. But hey, if he gets 100, great, fantastic. You love to see it. If he gets 101 points since relocation, that is the best season ever for a Carolina Hurricane. I will gladly take 101 points from Martin Necas. But going back to the Hart conversation, where he's at right now in terms of goals, assists, points across the NHL. Obviously, with the team, yeah, he leads the team in every offensive category. Plus, minus, I think he's like 5th. Of course, you got a bunch of guys on defense way higher than him. I think Jordan Martinick leads. I think like Robinson and Martinick are up there too. So I think he's like 5th in plus minus. But he leads in goals. He leads in assists. He's almost doubled the next guy in points. He's almost at a 2 points per game pace right now. In terms of the Hurricanes, yeah, he's their best player right now. Bar none, best player right now. And nothing against those other guys. Nothing against Svechnikov, nothing against Aho. Jarvis when he comes back healthy. The start that Roslovic's had. Same for Robinson. How about Jordan Martinick already having 6 goals this year? That you love to see that from him. Hurricanes, by far, hands down, best player right now for the Hurricanes. League-wide, definition, MVP of your team. Nathan McKinnon is on a Avalanche team who's struggling, but you still have names. You still got Rantanen. You still got Makar. You still got Devin Taves whenever he figures it out. Casey Milstad's playing really well for them, too. They've won a cup recently. They got names. Kirill Kaprizov, hey, man, he's having a great season for the Minnesota Wild. No one knows what's going on with the Wild this year. I've seen them in a bunch of different spots. But if you're telling me right now, if there's a certain player who's an MVP player for his team right now, and especially on a year where no one thought they had a shot for a division or even remotely looked like a good team compared to last year's squad, it's Carolina Hurricanes. I said they might have taken a slight step back because of all the roster changes. Some people thought these guys were not even going to make the playoffs. Or they're going to make the playoffs and it's a first-round exit. It would be like the first time in Rod Brind'Amour's 10 years as head coach. Some people think it's a wild card for these guys. They thought these guys weren't even going to score goals this year. Like I said, they're already averaging over 4 a game. So if you're talking about a guy who's up for a Hart, that's an MVP player for his team right now, who is carrying the Carolina Hurricanes as an MVP type player, if he's not having this start to the season, where is Carolina right now? They're 13-4-0 in 17 games. He is a guy, he's got 30 points in those 17 games. He's almost a 2-point per game player. Multiple point games. Multiple multi-point games. If Martin Necas is not on this start right now, I don't know if the Hurricanes are at this record. This could be a team closer to 500 than 9 games above, with 0 overtime, 0 shutout losses. So if you're asking me who's carrying this team right now as an MVP type player, who is putting the team on his back night in, night out, and putting them where they're at right now in the NHL, yeah, Martin Necas is a Hart winner because that's an MVP player. He has taken his team to another level where no one thought they'd be at this point in the season. With Steph Nason gone, Tara Vinen's gone, Shane Pesce are both gone. Jake Gensel, okay, whatever. He was a rental. That is what it is. But there's a guy that's a Hart candidate and a Hart finalist and a Hart winner by definition of what the trophy is as an MVP player for a team. Martin Necas, right now. I'll stand by it. You can clip this. You can save this. You can do whatever you want with this. Yes, we're still super early into the season. Is it too early to talk about it? I don't know. Me, personally, no. Because it's time to talk about it. You're a good handful of games in. You're in the middle of November. You're almost close to this. And everyone talks about, where are you at by American Thanksgiving? Your season's determined by where you're at by American Thanksgiving. Guess what? We're close to American Thanksgiving. And Martin Necas is on one of the hottest starts for a Carolina Hurricane ever. Not somewhat. Ever hottest start. So yeah, conversation starts now. Does he deserve to win it? Yes. So that's what this whole episode's about. Welcome to Locked On Martin Necas for a Tuesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Because I'm putting my money on Martin Necas responsibly. But yeah, for me, Martin Necas. For the Hart, 100%. Start the campaign now. Instead of Martin Necas, it's Hardy Necas. H-A-R-T Necas. Hashtag it. Not Martin Necas, Hardy Necas, because that's where he's at right now. Or Necas for Hart, however you want to put it. But you know what, guys? In the comment section below, let me know, what do you think? Do you think it's too early to talk about Martin Necas for the Hart Trophy conversation? Do you think he's deserving to win it? Let me know in the comments. Me personally, yes. Time to talk about it? Yes, I think he has a chance to win it. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you there with me? Or do you think, hold up, you need to pump the brakes a little bit? But I'd like to hear everyone's thoughts about that. So with that being said, guys, that will be a Tuesday edition of Locked On Hurricanes or Locked On Martin Necas. Make it the podcast. Now, for your second lesson, well, you can go find Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Become a fantasy hockey expert and get the edge over your league mates with daily tips from Steal and Flip. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube where we listen to podcasts. Now, for me, even to keep up with me and all everything I'm doing covering the Carolina Hurricanes, well, you can follow me on OneTrueX on Zach, Podcast Zone _ Hurricanes. I am also on Blue Sky. Go to the Zachary Martin and whatever the Blue Sky thing is. Not hard to find me. Just go to the Zachary Martin. You'll find me on there too. I got link trees of both of my bios where you can find all my articles at the Hockey Writers where I'm writing about the Carolina Hurricanes. Or just go to thehockeywriters.com, find my author page. You'll find all my stuff there. If you want to listen to me on the Surgecast, just go to the Surgecast on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. For this show, well, all podcast platforms is Locked On Hurricanes. Make sure to leave a 5-star rating and review because if you do, I might just read on the show. On YouTube, well, Locked On Hurricanes. Subscribe, hit the bell notification so you don't miss the show. Hit the thumbs up button. Let me know you like the show as well. And like I said, in the comment section, do you think Martin Necas should be in the conversation? Do you think he's going to win? Or is it too soon? I don't know. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear everyone's thoughts on that. Make sure to share the podcast with other Caniacs that become everydayers just like you, because we are over 1,000 subscribers. Let's keep this ball rolling. And until next time, guys, I hope everyone enjoyed the Locked On Martin Necas edition of a Tuesday show of Locked On Hurricanes. Hope everyone enjoys their Tuesday because we are going to be one day away from having more Hurricanes hockey. But until then, guys, as always, let's go Canes.